everyone, today we have an exciting video. We are doing the Ritual event in Master Duel, which is based around ritual decks of different kinds, most notably the Hungry Burger Decklist that has recently been released in Master Duel, also known as Duels. Now, this is one of the structure decks in the event, but if you know me, Rainbow Staple, you know that I don't really like playing by the event's rules. I try to play any deck that doesn't fit. So in this video, we're going to be playing pure Monarchs. You heard that right. We're playing Monarchs in a ritual event. Let me show you the deck list and let me show you a couple of games, and it's been doing surprisingly well. So this is the deck list here. As you can see, there is not a single ritual monster in sight, and not even a single extra deck monster. Now, Monarchs is one of the first decks I played when coming back to the TCG, so it's very nostalgic for me to be able to bring it back, and what better event to bring it back in than a low power format such as the Ritual event. Now, showing off the deck list here, we're going to start with 3 Idea, or Idea. When you normal summon this card, it lets you special summon a monster with 800 attack and defense from the deck, and the secondary effects you can grab a spell, Monarch spell or trap back from the grave. Now, the special summon target will be Yugioh, which once special summoned lets you tribute summon an additional time on that turn, and if it's in the graveyard, you can special summon back Idea. So you basically tribute fodder and lets you tribute summon a bit more. We're running a Caius, a single Caius. Now, this is only here because we can't run the Vanity's Fiend, I believe it is. Yeah, Vanity's Fiend, because that's banned in this event, which makes sense. But they didn't ban Majesty's Fiend for some reason, so we're running 3 of these. If you don't know Caius from Edison, once tribute summoned, you can banish a card on the field, and if it's a dark monster, you can deal 1000 damage. Now, the funniest thing is, if you normal summon this and then banish itself, you can burn for 1000. That comes up sometimes. We have Majesty's Fiend, as previously mentioned. Just basically means no one can special summon, no one can activate monster effects, which is quite funny. It locks people out of a lot, especially in the ritual event where you want to be activating a lot of effects. We do run 2 Caius the Mega Monarch, similar to the regular Caius, except you can target any card on the field and banish it. We can do that too, but it does deal 1000 damage either way. And I mean, if it's tribute summoned by attributing a dark monster, you can target 2 cards instead, but it'll still do 1000 damage. So it's basically just another pop and a 28,100 defense guy. We pulled 2 Ether or Ether, so we put 2 in here. You probably run 1 of these. Once tribute summoned, you can tribute summon it using 1 tribute summon monster, but you can send 2 Monarch spell traps with different names from deck to grave, and then special summon a 2400 attack, 1000 defense monster from deck. Now, you can either target the Majesty's Fiend, Caius, and that's about it really. But because they get returned back to hand, you can use them next turn, and also it's a good way to get a lot of damage in. If this is in the hand, you can banish a Monarch spell trap and just immediately tribute summon it, but it won't be using that effect too often. Now we have one of the big boys, Erebus. You can tribute summon this, same conditions. You can tribute summon it using 1 tribute summon monster, or 2 monsters like normal. You can send 2 Monarch spells to traps to the grave, but then shuffle 1 card at random from your opponent's hand or field. So it's a really good way to remove something from the opponent's field, or if there's nothing to remove, like on turn 1, just shuffle a card back from their hand. And this is another good bit of recursion. If this is in the graveyard, you can discard a Monarch spell trap and then shuffle or give back your Majesty's Fiend or your Caius. We run a reinforcement of the army to grab the Idea or Eidos from deck. Oh no, just the... we run a reinforcement of the army to grab the Idea from deck. It's just a 4th copy of it, really. We run 3 Tenacity of the Monarchs, so you can reveal one of your Monarch cards and add 1 Monarch spell or trap from deck to hand. This is really useful. It's just a good searcher and turns these Monarchs in hand from being dead into something a bit more useful. This is one of the best cards in the deck, Pantheism of the Monarchs. You can send 1 Monarch spell or trap card from your hand to the graveyard and draw 2, which is already amazing. You can turn some of your dead spell traps into draws. But you can also banish it from the graveyard and reveal 3 Monarch spell traps, and then your opponent gets to choose 1 and add 1 to your hand. So the best thing is, if you just reveal all 3, you will always get that, so a lot of the time you will be doing that. Now, this is a really fun card, and is the reason I kind of wanted to build Monarchs in Master Duel at all. Time-Tearing Morganite. So this is a really silly card, but it's a lot of fun. For the rest of the duel, after you activate it, you can't activate any monster effects on the hand, so no hand traps, but in the draw phase you draw 2 instead of 1, and you conduct 2 normal summons per turn, not just 1. So you can summon out a bunch of stuff. On an ideal turn 1, you can bring out Majesty's Fiend and a Erebus, or anything like that, just Majesty's Fiend plus something else, or just an easy way to get it out of your hand. It's a really fantastic card, and I do love it. We also run 3 Domain of the True Monarch, which is their field spell. While we have no cards in our extra deck, and we're the only player that controls a tribute monster, your opponent can't special summon monsters from the extra deck. And you also gain 800 attack when your tribute summon monster attacks, which doesn't really matter that much. And the last effect is you can reduce the level of one monster, one of your big monarchs, by 2 levels, so it requires 1 less tribute, which is really useful, especially with the upcoming cards. We have 1 March of the Monarchs, basically just protect your tribute summon monsters, they can't be targeted, can't be destroyed. And then we have Return of the Monarchs, which is okay, it doesn't really do that much. You can just search stuff when you tribute summon, and that's about it. You can search another monarch. It's not amazing, but you can search it out, so it doesn't hurt to have. This card is amazing though. If you haven't seen this before, it's pretty nuts. Also, I'm just going to show off this royal here. So it's a quick play, once per turn. If you're going to tribute a monster, you can tribute one of your opponent's monsters instead, which works quite well with reducing the level of one of your big boys, so you can just tribute over an opponent's monster. In this event, we're also running lose 1 turn. Because we're not special summoning many monsters, we will never control a special summon monster, which is the condition. But while a monster is face up on the field, negate its effects, turn that monster was special summoned, and if it's an effect monster, special summoning attack position changes the defense. That bit's not important, but you're going to be negating and slowing down the opponent quite a lot. And the last card we have is the Prime Monarch. This is one you want to be sending off any of your effects that send Monarch spells and traps to grave. You want to be sending this because you can activate it from grave, banish another Monarch spell or trap, and special summon it as a level 5 monster, which is just tribute fodder really, but it's really nice card to have because you can just keep sending it. The other effect is that you get to target 2 spell or traps, Monarch spell or traps into the grave and shuffle them back in deck and draw 1, but that doesn't come up very often. So that's it for the deck list. Let's jump into some games. So, jumping into our first game, we have a decent opening hand here going first. This deck can go first or second. We're going to start with the reinforcement of the army, just to bait out any Ash Blossoms, which is still in this format. We'll activate the Time-Tearing Morganite just to get that out of the way. Then we'll use the Pantheism to discard the Stormforth to draw 2, since we won't be using that this turn. Then we'll summon the Edia and some of the Eidos, and then unfortunately we have no tribute targets, but we will use Pantheism to reveal 3 from our deck. We wanted to get the other Pantheism because it's not a once per turn. We'll get rid of the other Stormforth and draw 2 more. Unfortunately, we don't see much else, but we have a March of the Monarch, so we'll activate that and set this Prime Monarch. Not a very good first turn, but we are going against one of the best decks in this format, the Nivelles, or the Hungry Burger deck. So he's going to start doing his thing. He'll activate the field spell to search one of his ritual monsters, pitching that, and then revealing 2. We'll let him add... oh, well... We'll let him add the ritual monster. For some reason it didn't show it. He's going to use the ritual spell to go into... I'm not even going to try and pronounce this little dude here. And it adds 1 after excavating the top 5, so he's going to do that now. If you can't tell, I'm a little bit ill, so I'm going to try my best to keep up with this. He's going to add the pendulum and then use the pendulum effect to target 1 monster on the field, special summon this card onto the field, and he's going to tribute both of these to bring out the ritual he sent to grave. So he's tributed my guy, but that's fine. He's going to target my face down, but that's okay. We don't care about that being destroyed. In fact, we want it destroyed. But we use the Eidos to bring back the Pantheism to hand, because we probably will need it next turn. Might as well just get it out of the way. He adds the trap card, which is absolutely insane. He's going to do another ritual here into Poultice. I can probably say that one, but I'm probably saying it wrong. So he's going to draw 1 card off the Poultice and then add this back to the Pendulum Zone. Set 2, and he's just going to kill my Eidos here. Not bad. We're not dead, which is good. End turn, he's just going to put 2 cards from his grave back onto the deck and draw 1. So we're going to be drawing 2 cards here, which is very nice. We've drawn some decent cards. We've drawn a card that we can actually tribute. We'll start with the Yugioh. Unfortunately, he negates this, but we do have 2 normal summons, which helps us a lot. Time Tearing Morganite is fantastic. Unfortunately, he will tribute both of them to go into blah 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 blah. Unfortunately, because he tributed it, the imperm doesn't have hit, so we still get our summon from deck. He's going to add a recipe off this, or the restaurant, I guess, not a recipe, the entire damn restaurant. We'll use the Prime Monarch to special summon it onto our field, and something we can do with Morganite, I'll point this out, if you draw another Morganite, you can banish the Morganite from grave, and then they can't activate monster effects when you normal summon, which is a very small effect, but it's quite handy. We'll use 2 tributes to go into Ether here, and we'll try and use the Ether effect to send 2 Monarch spells traps to grave, but he's going to negate that with a special recipe, which is fine, we're not too fussed. We can use the Pantheism here to reveal 3, and our opponent adds 1. Luckily, he gives us the other Pantheism, because that's the only one we wanted, and we'll draw a couple more. We've drawn into another lose 1 turn and Eidos. We'll special summon a Yugioh, which was a bad idea, because lose 1 turn won't be active, but he does kill our Eidos, which is unfortunate, and then tributes both our monsters. We use the Eidos to bring back the Monarch Stormforth and set the 2 lose 1 turns in case he can pop 1. Not looking good so far, but we'll use the lose 1 turn here, which does work because we have no special summon monsters. He's going to use the restaurant to send a ritual to grave and draw 1 card. He's going to deal some damage, but we're still not dead. He sets 2, and then he does the restaurant effect to put 2 back in deck and draw 1. So far we're going to need 2 very good draws here, and honestly, that will do. We can use the Yugioh in graveyard to target our Yugioh, but unfortunately he banishes that from the grave, so it won't get special summoned, which is unfortunate, but I reckon we can still work with this. We can go into the Pantheism. We're going to reveal off the top the Domain of the True Monarch, Domain of the True Monarch, and Domain of the True Monarch. I wonder what we're going to get. We'll go into the Domain of the True Monarch, reducing the level of the Erebus to level 6, so it only needs 1 tribute. We'll tribute off 1 of his ritual monsters to summon Erebus. We'll use his Erebus effect to send 2 Monarch spell traps to grave and shuffle back that ritual. We'll send the True Monarch and the Prime Monarch and another spell trap to special summon that and attack for 2800. So now we're on the playing field we want to be. We're drawing 2 cards a turn, we have a board, and we're ready to go. This guy can't be targeted or destroyed. He'll activate the Voice a la Carte and reveal 2 and add 1. And then he'll ritual summon once again into Burble. I'm going to call him Burble. He's going to add the Hamburger Recipe, which is a very, very scary card. Look at this man. He is hungry. This gets turned into defense and his effects are negated, and so does this. And he realizes that lose 1 turn is going to work out for me, and he cannot cook anymore. This deck beat the best deck of this format. Can't get much better than that. So going into our second game, this is one of the best turn 1s we can ever get. Unfortunately, I mess it up slightly, so you will see in a moment how I do that. We'll go into the Morganite, since we drew that in our first hand. We'll activate Tenacity of the Monarchs, revealing our Monarch and adding the Prime Monarch. We'll use the Pantheism to discard the Prime Monarch and draw 2. We'll use the Field Spell here, and then summon Eidos so we can tribute summon an extra time. We'll reduce the level of the Erebus here, and then activate the Prime Monarch to special summon that. We'll tribute that for the Majesty's Fiend, and this is where we mess up. We could shuffle 1 off Erebus, but because we summoned the Majesty's Fiend first, it can't activate. But we'll use the Pantheism Engrave and try and work with what we just did. We'll reveal 3 Monarch Stormforth, because we might need that for an extra turn. But if I didn't mess up here, we'd have 1 less card in hand, and no monster effects will be able to be activated. But this is still a pretty good board either way. He normal summons a monster and then realizes he can't activate any effects, so he gives up. That's a brilliant turn 1, if I didn't mess up. Going into game 3, we don't have the best opening hand here, but we can make this work. So we'll normal summon the Yugioh here, special summoning the Eidos from deck. Using the Eidos effect lets us tribute summon an extra time, but we won't be using that. We use the Tenacity of the Monarchs to reveal the Ether, adding the Domain of the True Monarchs to hand. We'll use the Domain effect to reduce this level and make this 1 tribute. We'll send 2 Monarch spell traps to grave to special summon the Erebus, which will get returned at the end of the turn. We use the Pantheon that we sent off the effect of Ether to reveal 3 random Monarchs because we don't really care what we get, and he gives us the Prime Monarch, which is fine. It gets bounced, the Erebus, but that's fine. We'll use Dragon Shrine to send Jet and Blue Eyes, so we're against Blue Eyes here. Using the Dictator of D to mill another Blue Eyes here. He'll use the... what the hell even was that? I don't even know. It's a cool card though. Extra Foolish Burial, sending an extra deck monster to grave. He sends the Herald of the Arclight, adding the Chaos form of the Arclight. He's going to use the Dictator of D, discarding the Chaos Max to bring back the Blue Eyes Jet Dragon. A very scary card if you don't have a way to deal with it. Thankfully we do. He's going to return our Prime Monarch and kill the Aether here, but luckily he leaves our Eidos up. We will activate the Prime Monarch to bring it back to our field just for an extra tribute material for next turn. Drawing another card, we drew another Erebus, which is very nice. We're going to Eidos here, and then we'll use the Monarch Stormforce so we can tribute a monster on the opponent's side of the field. We're going to tribute the Dictator of D here because we don't want this Jet Dragon in the grave, summoning the Erebus and then sending 2 Monarch Spell Traps to shuffle back the Jet, switch everything to attack and then use a Pantheon, and all of a sudden, he gives up. Once we get rid of that Jet, this deck is a lot less scary. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments what you used for this ritual event, because I'm very curious. Did you use a cheesy deck like I did, or did you actually play by the rules and use Hungry Burger, for example? Nothing will ever stop me on my quest to beat every event without using the actual rules of the event. That being said, if you made it this far in the video, please do feel free to hit subscribe. New Yu-Gi-Oh videos each week, and as always, happy dueling.